Hey guys, welcome back. I've been away for a couple of weeks because I have been with my family in Europe, which was beautiful and wonderful, traveling the Croatian coast and a little bit in England. And I picked up a little souvenir on the way back. I got some sort of European flu, so I've been down for a little bit, but glad to be back with you guys today. Hey, today what I wanted to talk about, I haven't really played my guitar much over the last month, just being away and traveling and everything, and then being sick on top of it. But I was thinking about melodic playing and what melodic playing is really all about. How to make melodies on the guitar that really sound like something beautiful that people want to hear, rather than sounding like noodling. And that's one of the most important things on the instrument. You can learn your scales all you want, but you can just sound like you're practicing. I remember years ago I was on a gig with a really, really great keyboard player, and I had been practicing. It was like a jazz thing, and I'm practicing like really hard on some stuff, and so I wanted to put it on the bandstand, and we were just doing it was like a dinner set before the actual set type of thing, and so we're playing like a Miles Davis tune, I think it was, and I remember, I was going off on these patterns that I was doing, and I was playing them well, I think, but I remember the keyboard player, you could see him getting more and more tense. He was a great player, and finally he turned around and he said, "It sounds like you're practicing, man," which was exactly right. It sounded like I was practicing. He totally busted me. But sometimes we can sound like we're practicing. We play the same things over and over. So how do you develop that sense of melody and getting a real sense of playing melodically? Well, I think one of the most important things is knowing your target tones, and you guys have probably heard people talk about that. You might know what that is specifically, but I'm gonna show you a quick exercise today, and I haven't worked any of this stuff out, so I'll be sort of like learning it with you. But the idea is that when you make a chord change, you hit one of the chord tones in that chord change, and that automatically tells like the human ear where you're at in the changes. It tells everybody you know where you're going, and you're sort of leading things melodically. So let me explain what I mean. So I'm going to do in that little intro that I just improvised. I just took the chords G and A minor for no reason at all, really. I just now G and A minor, I can think of those in two different ways. I can think of that as the 5 and the 6 chord in the key of C. And don't worry about the theory so much. Or I can think of it as the 1 and 2 chord in the key of G. That's what I'm going to think of it as. So I'm thinking this is 1 and 2, and I'm basically using my G major scale. Now some people would say you're using G Ionian and then A Dorian or something like that. I really just think in the key of G, and that's it. And I'll think through some like different patterns that I'll show you later, some different scale ideas. But one of the most important things is on the downbeat of 1. So I was doing 2 bars of each of these things. I want to land on one of my arpeggio notes for each of these. So either the root, the third, or the fifth. Root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth, and so on. Root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth. So I want to land on one of those notes on the downbeat. And so I'm going to show you initially, I'm going to just do some really simple stuff. I'll play just a couple of notes really slowly, and I'm going to start just on the root note. Let's do this to make it easy. So I'm going to just start here. So if you have your guitar, grab your guitar. I'm going to start here. I'll play some like melodic noodle, but I'm going to start on G, and then I'm going to go to the A note, which is the root note of the A chord when I hit that A thing. So let's try this. So it sounds pretty melodic right off the bat. Now I can do the same thing, and I can aim for my thirds. So I could go I'll aim for here, my third B here. Maybe I'll go to the B here and B here too. We'll see how it goes. But I'll play some little melodic figures. I'm going to start on the thirds then. And again, this is how you start to develop this stuff. You start to target certain tones. So let me show you this one. So again, on that one, I targeted all thirds. I went to the high C on that. Now, the way that I'm sort of doing this, and I'm thinking through this, is if I play a figure, I'm going to sort of go to the nearest note that I'm targeting out of my, out of these chord shapes. So the last one that I can do then is I can do the fifth. So I'm going to do the B note or the D note and the E note on the G chord and the A chord. Let's try that one. All right, and you can hear right off the bat, just hitting those notes on the downbeat, it really starts to sound pretty spectacular. Okay, then the next idea is if you put, if you take a scale in there, now a lot of people would use the G major scale. I actually don't love to use the major scale over major type of progressions. You need to know your major scales. That's a really important thing, but I actually prefer to use what I call the hexatonic scale. So I'm going to skip the seventh. This is a G major hexatonic. And you hear guys like the Allman Brothers playing these sort of lines a lot of times. That's a hexatonic scale, and basically what it's doing is skipping this note that puts a lot of tension in. That F sharp note, it always, to me, tells that I'm on the 5 chord. So if I'm just playing on a 1 chord and a 4 chord or a 1 chord and a 2 chord, I'm not going to go to that F sharp note that's really not contained in either of those 2 chords. All right, so when I'm playing lines then, if I'm really thinking my way through stuff, I think when and most of the time, unless the changes are really complex, I'm just using my ears and I'm trying to hear my way through it. But I think when I was learning this stuff, what I would really have to do is I would see these chord shapes and I would aim for one of the chord shapes. So again, if I did a line, then I'm going to go to whatever note might be the next nearest note. Or if I did like a... So I'm seeing this little like A minor shape, and you can hear that like tells everybody that I'm going to this chord. So let me just like noodle again a little bit and show you how these are falling. And obviously, I'm not going for, like, when I'm just improvising, I'm not going for just, the root, the third, or the fifth. I'm sort of going to the nearest note that I can find. All right. The other thing that I'll use a lot of times, I might use, in this case, sixths. And in this case, I've got this as my 1 chord, and that is my 2 chord, so I have these connection chords. And I'll just play a little bit of that. I think you get the idea. So when you're playing through this, what I would really do is learn that scale first of all. I think it's a really good scale, and just maybe stay in that scale for the most part, and then target your tones of root, third, fifth, root, third, fifth, root, third. So target one of those little arpeggio shapes. as you land on the downbeat. And I think you'll find that that really makes it sound like you're making some really wonderful melodies. And hopefully that helps you a little bit. You might want to even start, up here, sort of like the position that everybody knows. So start here and see your G chord, and then maybe your so. All right, well, you get the idea. So one of the target tones on the downbeat anytime you make that change. And, if I was going G to C, then I would cover, C chord arpeggio shapes. Or if I was going G up to D, I would do the same thing. And that would be a really good thing to just practice, do a G chord to a D chord or a G chord to an E minor chord and try to hit those target tones on the downbeat with some of the existing information that you already know. And I think that'll help you to sound a lot more melodic in your playing rather than like you're just wandering on some aimless scales or something like that. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. And until next time, God bless.